You are listening to The Full Circle.
Welcome back. It's 2:47 on SAFM, and we're having a conversation now around revolutionizing the educational space in South Africa with cutting-edge AI technology to enable seamless classroom management and observation. A2Z Tech Solutions desire to increase and improve opportunities for children and young people across South Africa using the power of artificial intelligence to impact on education, health, and life opportunities. And with this groundbreaking technology, Loyiso Skweyiya, who is director and co-founder of A2Z Tech Solutions, and his team are empowering educators to optimize their teaching strategies, enhance student engagement, and create personalized learning experiences like never before. Loyiso Skweyiya is my guest in the studio. He's here. So, let's get into it, right? Yeah. Because we hear the bad and the good about AI a lot. Just yesterday, I was talking to Alton St-Pierre about sometimes the bad things that come from AI. How is AI going to revolutionize, particularly education in South Africa? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks, KG, for having us on the show. And good afternoon to your listeners as well. AI, big controversial buzzword, right? At the moment. ChatGPT, all kinds of, other AI stuff, Synthesia, Murph AI. There's a couple of those, right, in the market. Some of them are writing tools. Some of them are video AI. Some of them are just, create an image using AI. So in education, what we basically imagine, in our space is that we're not trying to bring AI in the space to
make teachers obsolete, for example.
Yeah, we're not attacking educators, number one. And some of the stuff that I want to talk about, perhaps, teacher unions and, the government might, look at and listen to what we're going to talk about and frown upon them.
Yeah.
But I would say it's basically to just assist, right?
Yeah.
It's like outsourcing, the work that you give to teachers to basically AI to do what teachers are actually time, consumed on, right? The mundane stuff, the repetitive work, the stuff that they're not maybe capacitated to do. I know that, I always say a teacher is primarily there to teach. The learners, the teacher is not actually there to be a policeman.
Or a parent.
Or a parent.
Yeah.
Nor are they there to be a psychologist, right? So we basically we started, writing, our own scripts in terms of, doing machine learning, training some of the stuff that we were busy with through interactive smart boards. And basically, we were just training it to, pick up, children in the classroom, to identify how many children do you have in the classroom, to count, the learners in the classroom against the learner ID or student IDs, and match it to what, to the database of the school.
Yeah.
And further to that, then we thought, why don't we go a step further and just look at learner behavior as well, and be able to, help, educators look at, which are the learners that are actually paying attention in the classroom, which are the learners that are actually engaged in the subject, what sort of interest do they have, paying really deep attention to each and every learner that's in the classroom.
Yeah.
Instead of, just, throwing a blanket at every learner, assuming that the comprehension will be the same in terms of whatever content is being delivered. So, that's essentially where we are.
Ultimately, though, and one of the things that I asked the producer at the moment of briefing when we had the conversation around this, I said, we live in the most unequal society in the world. The dynamics of the kid who lives or goes to a school in Sandton, completely different to the dynamics of the kid who goes to, let's say, Mabetla High, if there is such a school in Soweto. How does it bridge that divide is the part that I'm most interested in, because ultimately every parent or every kid wants to be able to breeze through school and make it to the end of matric and even further. So how does artificial intelligence then bridge that sort of divide that we find ourselves with in South Africa?
So you raise a very important point, right? And one of the things I always say is, let's look at the facts right now, right? In a public, rural or township area, what are the conditions here, right? They're probably dealing with schools that don't have toilets, there's no electricity,
A lab that doesn't
there's
work.
no computer lab,
Yeah.
things like that, right? So how we look at it also is we look at the holistic, conducive environment of learning, teaching and learning. However, to what you're saying is we must then also, beyond, the basics that should have been there in any case, right, which is lights, water, sanitation, going beyond that, right, what is the technology that they're using to leverage from? What are the tools that they're using to actually teach these learners, right? What is, what are those mechanisms that will actually increase engagement in the classroom? Because we know in a private school or independent school, right, they have these things.
Yeah.
They have computer labs. The way they deliver the content, right, is put together, is packaged in such a way that excites learners, that engage learners to learn.
Absolutely.
If we look at like interactive smart boards, right, most of the private schools, right, they adopted technology and they have the money to buy the technology. But in the public schools, they don't have the money to buy, smart boards. They still traditional teaching through chalkboards, whiteboards, paper flip charts and things like that. And if you look at the condition, perhaps, of even the, those chalkboards, they're not in good condition. Even the way the teachers deliver the content sometimes, you try and depict a picture of, let's say you talk about photosynthesis, for example, right, to a child. It's a process that needs to be illustrated in pictures or in a video format, right?
To make it look exciting.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not only that, but the level of comprehension becomes better when you actually use, rich content, 3D videos or, stuff like that, rich content that actually delivers the message, in the best way possible. If you get a teacher, you're asking them to try and draw the process of photosynthesis on a chalkboard, right? There are some learners that might get it, but there are some learners that might not get it, right? They will look at this and be like, what is this teacher trying to actually draw? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So for the child that's sitting at the back, they're thinking, yes, and the teacher's like, can I rub off the board now? Can I move on? And you still have that one that's still trying to understand, was that a sun? Was that a leaf? Was that a sunflower? What was that? In the picture of photosynthesis. So all I'm saying is that we have to adopt new ways of, delivering content.
Yeah.
And at the level at which, the private sector is doing it, the independent, schools are doing it, so that they can be on par, the guys that are studying in the public schools and in the townships with the guys that are actually studying in private schools. Because as I'm saying, right, you get, the specialists, the teachers, the educators, you get the content, you get the methodology of teaching, then you get the tools that are being used, then you get the administration, the management, stuff that, is put in place to make sure that the teacher is actually in class. That's number one. That's some of the things that we're dealing with in the public schools, right?
Yeah.
To make sure that the learner has actually arrived inside the classroom, right? Because most of the time you drop off your child at the gate or, premises of the school, they walk in, you assume that they're in class, right, when, class starts, but they've actually bunked class.
One of the things that the fourth industrial revolution teaches all of us is the fact that the future belongs to those who are most innovative.
Yes.
Right? And they do say successful businesses are built on the ethos of knowing what people need.
Yeah.
At the time that they need it and delivering it to them. So as you and your team sat around the table, at A2Z Tech Solutions and dreamt this dream of wanting to go to the Department of Education with this innovation, what ultimately was the bigger dream? And when you will say the project is successful, what happens?
So for us, the first, success levels for us is we identify the challenges, right? Knowing exactly what are the challenges. And like I was saying to you now earlier, is that some of the challenges that, we have the teacher, we have the content, maybe there is a methodology, but then there are no tools, right? And then we said, okay, what are the, tools that we may be able to develop, as the engineering team in the company. And one of the things the guys thought of is that how can you teach a child, right, apart from online learning or hybrid learning, can you teach a child if they're not sitting in front of you in the classroom?
Yeah.
I'm asking a question. Can you teach them
Look,
if they're not sitting there?
I think there are learnings that
Yeah.
were taken by the sector through COVID.
Yeah.
But whether or not we rose to the challenge to the way that we potentially could have or should have is a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
I know that some teachers struggled with the technology in itself to be able to get the message across sans, let's say, a chalkboard in the way that you made
I hear you, Katie.
the analogy earlier. So
But the point I'm trying to make is
Yeah.
that you need the bums on seats, right?
You need the bums on
Yeah.
seats.
If you're not doing online learning, right, or homeschooling, then you actually need the children inside the classroom, right? How do you make sure that the learners are inside the classroom, right? You would need then the teacher to take responsibility of marking class attendance and all of that, which is a mundane task, which sometimes they even forget to do it, or sometimes they do favors, etc., for the learners. But now that's not good for the parent who's paying. They're not getting value for their money, right?
Yeah.
Because, ultimately you want to give value to the parent, right?
Yeah.
That's actually paying for the school fees or taking the child to the school. So we need to then do class attendance reports, analytics, behavior, engagement reports. We can even pull scores of attention now in our algorithms that we've built to say, this child is actually on a scale of 1 to 10 is actually paying attention. Out of 10, they're getting an 8, they're getting a 7.
Yeah.
Or this child in this classroom has been falling asleep. There are things that there's so many reports that we can pull out of this.
Look,
Yeah.
either way, the future looks exciting.
It does.
How do people get in touch with A2Z Tech Solutions if they want to talk more and jump on the bandwagon tomorrow as opposed to in 2 years' time?
Okay, you can just pick up the phone and call us.
What's the number?
010-880-5372.
Are you on the socials?
We are on the socials. Just look for us, A2Z Tech Shop or A2Z Tech Solutions. And on our website, it's www.a2ztech.co.za.
Look, all the best.
Thank you
And
very
thank
much.
you for coming to explain what I thought would be complex for my mind.
Thank you for having us.
So easily. Thank you. Loyiso Skweyiya is the director and the co-founder of A2Z Tech Solutions. Ntabiseng and Zanele were on production. Munana was the technical producer. It's 3. It's time for the news. Prabashni Mudli is standing by.